white gate prior to development looked something like this. This is our outside retaining wall where our little tree is growing and runs in along to the back. This wall had become eroded over the years, so the first thing we did, we rebuilt this wall. Here's the bank and the steps at the white gate up towards the gap of the dam. Now, a very significant little development operation took place on this particular pool. Now, it must be said that prior to this development, the white gate was rather sluggish. In other words, the water was a bit slow. So a very simple remedy worked in the case of the white gate. We built a little spur wall. Like that, coming out of the outside retaining wall. Now, our intention was, of course, to build a similar wall here, but we found it was too deep to track the machine up to place material. So the only thing we could do, we rolled two large boulders like this, in off the road into the bank at that side, into the water at that side. And it had a dramatic effect on the white gate, because now you had a situation that the channel here had been narrowed and the water was coming in a lovely curl into the white gate and was in fact being speeded up, and you had a much stronger flow right down through the white gate. It was now a much better angling pool, and indeed anglers have been catching fish right down below the steps in the white gate, down towards the bottom of the white gate. And these walls also created little lies for fish, that fish might hold in these softs just off the flow. So it has been a very significant development for the fishery and for Beat 1 and for the white gate. And the white gate is probably one of the most sought after and most popular pools now in the fishery, unfortunately, because it's right alongside the roadway, and fellas will often try have a few throws, but a great little pool, and another example of how successful our angling improvement program has been on Castleconnell fishery. Another very significant development on Beat 1 was the work that was carried out on the bottom of the Pantry and just above the Big Eddy. And if I could just draw a rough diagram again. Here's the outside retaining wall to hold the water in the main channel off the dead water. There's some trees growing along here. And here's our little wall. Now, the old angling wall that came down along from Paz Gap, down along the Pantry, stopped somewhere around here, so we extended it down, and the Big Eddy can now be fished from the bank, whereas prior to development this area could only be fished by boat. So a very significant development took place in this particular spot, and I will show you exactly what was achieved. This outside wall was brought in a little turn like so. Now at this side also off of our main angling wall, we built a little spur wall out like this. So we now had created a little bottle, so to speak, like a bottleneck, and it had a very significant effect on the Big Eddy, because it gave the water that lovely little sweep again in through this neck and down into the Big Eddy. And of course our wall was extended in such a fashion that you could fly fish the top of the Big Eddy here. So we did also place some large boulders to give fish lies, and these have been very successful also. We also put some lies in the Pantry. on this stretch. But this particular development has been very successful indeed, because this little run here, this little fast run down into the Big Eddy, exceptional fly water, probably next to the bottom of the gravel on BT8 is probably the next best fly stretch on Castlecommon Fishery. Magnificent fly water, lovely glide. Indeed, how many times does people passing overhead on the roadway pull up and admire this lovely run down into the Big Eddy? But very significant development again, and as I said, a very significant improvement in angling returns on this particular section, because there has been some very good catches in this particular spot. So another example of the success of our angling improvement program.